I see the worst in people, Henry. I don't need to look past seeing them to get all I need. I've built up my hatreds over the years, little by little.
There Will Be Blood is a movie that shows how unchecked ambition and ego can lead to detrimental results. When goals are achieved with means of hatred, when love is viewed as a weakness and a thing to not think about, we see that it leads to a very miserable life that feels empty. As in the case of Daniel Plainview's development. Spoiler alert. I will try to not spoil much, yet watch at your own risk since I'm probably spoiling the plot for you. The movie starts with a scene of a miner searching for precious metal in order to make a living. It's set in 1898, and mining back then is a dangerous work. On an unfortunate turn of event, he broke his leg trying to mine a silver ore. However, determined to live, he crawled far enough through the desert to smelt his ore and cash in his findings. Now, from the very first part of the movie, we can see that the man won't stop at nothing, even if his leg broke. What's interesting is that his determination will later be his driver to succeed, yet also his driver to emptiness as it later went unchecked. Fast forward to 1902, he grew and grew and grew, and accumulated wealth and expertise in his craft of taking oil from the ground up. He designed oil rigs and drilled much more. However, one of the miners working with him got into an accident and left a baby orphaned. He took this baby as his own and gave him the name H.W. 4 years later, Daniel became a sad man, at least has a footing to be called an oil man. In his speech, we can see how he has this way of approaching people, saying sweet offers as if he himself is the only man who can do the job, someone who can make you rich in a snap of a finger. Yet behind those words, all he sees are profit. The close up shot shows how he scans probability, profit, and the greed of those around. He doesn't care about other success. All he wants is to be the one on top, in control, by any means. HW also plays a role in furthering his goal, as you can see, is a sweet face to please people's eyes, to claim himself a family man. Later on, we will see that HW is not just a sweet face, but instead also a tether for Daniel to have something in his pursuit, as Daniel cares for HW to some degree. Daniel Plainview's trajectory of business changed when he met Paul Sunday, who tipped off his family's land that practically leaks oil. After surveying the area with his son HW, he figures that it's best to dig up the oil and make profit for himself, while giving the Sunday family quail price for compensation. He bargains with Sunday's family to sell their land on the pretense that his son needs fresh air, quote unquote. However, Eli Sunday, which is Paul Sunday's brother, saw through Daniel and wanted to make use of this opportunity to build up his own influence through church and religion, because he knows there is an abundance of oil in his family's land. Reluctantly, Daniel agrees to donate $5,000 to Eli's church. Yet over the course of the movie, he only pays that amount much later. After buying the land, he bought the lands west of Sunday's family in order to build a pipeline transporting oil to the west coast, avoiding inland transportation costs for his oil. In doing so, he struck a deal with the community, and Eli's church, of course, to make them prosper with the oil wealth. This was all a pretense, though, as all he ever wanted was the money, as he only gives the community what is the bare minimum of what feels fair, if it is even fair in other standards. I reckon this is what people see as the profit of capitalism. When the money trickles down to the poor, it's a sort of noblesse oblige. Yes, that word. However, if we look at his shot, where Daniel Plainview prepares himself for a speech to the community. It represents subtly of what he is, a void of nothing, like a black hole that wants to suck in anything and is never satisfied. It's interesting to see that in the next shot he's giving the same confident speech, just like what he did in the beginning of the movie, when he was offering a service with HW in his side. Truly, he is a master of showing what the public wants to see. Whether it's for a good cause or not, following the movie, we can see that it's all for his personal gain. Or we will see. And it's not for altruistic cause. Back to the movie, the oil mining runs after a while, and Eli has gained more and more influence over the community through his sermons and captivating performance. However, disaster strikes the operation when the rig hits a gas pocket and causes a devastating fire and explosion. Caught in the crossfire, HW lost his hearing ability, and he became a person with deafness. After saving HW amidst the panic, Daniel redoubles his efforts securing the area around the burning rig. Oh, by the way, this is very cinematic. It kind of reminds me of Oppenheimer's nuclear scene. After controlling the situation, Daniel Plainview admired and laughed at the destruction.
What are you looking so miserable about? There's a whole ocean of oil under our feet. No one can get at it except for me.
He knows the danger of his line of work. He knows the destruction of his pursuit of money, yet he doesn't care. Onwards is all he sees. He tried seeing the doctor, finding ways to cure HW, yet nothing works. Daniel views HW as nothing more than a sweet face to help him sell. There's this little conflict in him on what to do. What to do, because the concept of just being there and loving his family isn't there. He sees love as a weakness, a thing that hinders his goal. Daniel's empathy is only superficial, as his empathy only goes as far as the surface level, and that he just wants to move on with his business. At some point, Daniel meets an imposter pretending to be his brother. He thought that his so-called brother had a bit of him inside and wanted to get close. Now, the way I see it is that Daniel wants to befriend him as a partner, not truly in a brotherly bond per se, but he looks on him as an ally to his goals. Though it might be because of the loneliness in his pursuit too.
I have a competition in me. I want no one else to succeed. I hate most people. I look at people and I see nothing worth liking. I want to earn enough money I can get away from everyone.
What he seeks is truly miserable. People aren't supposed to be seen in the lens of what's worse in them. Why do we persevere as a human being if it weren't for altruism, forgiveness, and feeling of belonging to each other, taking part in our survival as a species? Daniel merely sees these things superficially, time and time again, throughout the movie. He reduces it to mere calculations, something to navigate around when our own people, something to deal with, not to revel in it. This pursuit of nothingness has hollowed him of what makes human worth being one. At some point, HW had enough and decided to burn Daniel's notebooks, thinking that he had no choice. Daniel sent HW off on a train.
Just have to go and have a word with the conductor. I'll be right back. You stay here. You understand? You stay here. I'll be right back.
At which point does everything justify the ends when it just depletes you of what truly matters? After Daniel sent HW away, he tried to justify the hurt by being more bold, trying to strike a deal with Standard Oil. However, when Tilford said something about him being able to just live freely and take care of his son,
You just tell me how to run my family.
It might be more important now that you've proven the field and we're offering to buy you out.
One night, I'm going to come to you inside of your house, wherever you're sleeping, and I'm going to cut your throat.
What?
yeah, that happened. When Eli Sunday caught up to Daniel because he needed the consent of a church member to build a pipe through his property, he was forced to be baptized and join his church. Forced to confess his sin, he broke a bit.
Say it louder. Say it louder.
I've abandoned my child! I've abandoned my child! I've abandoned my boy!
Beg for the blood!
I am beyond words at how lost he is. He only regained his composure when he could finally work on the pipeline after finally paying the $5,000 he owes the church, which he haven't even paid back then. After building a pipeline transporting oil from land to sea, Daniel met Tilford again in a restaurant by chance. By this time, HW has come back and is coping with his dad. Daniel tried to annoy Tilford by implying, "Oh, look, I succeeded without your help. Now who's the fool?" At some point, bragging just to prove a point, just to smite someone who doesn't even care, would definitely cause you to lose face. Even Tilford plays along just because he is amused by Daniel's antics. One thing I noticed nearing the end is that he has become more and more childish and unhinged. Even though he gained more money in revenues, it feels as if he slowly lost his sanity too. Like an old man trying to prove that he's always right in everything. So stubborn. Time skips to 1927. Daniel lives in a big mansion and his son HW got married. Daniel, on the other hand, is now living in his bougie mansion. This shot shows Daniel in his elements. The darkness of his room reminds me of it reminds me of Nosferatu in his Dark Castle from the 1922 movie. A recluse, not taking part in society directly anymore, only scheming behind and pulling the strings in his now rich enterprise. Wanting to move away and start his own drilling, HW said goodbye to his father. However,
Son,
You're not my son.
please don't say that. I know you don't mean
Well, it's the truth. You're not my son. You never have been. You're no orphan.
so he dismisses him disrespectfully because Daniel thinks of him as a competition now. Anyway, he regrets his decision. Yeah, he became an alcoholic. He tries to drown his pain away with alcohol. Almost no one of significance is close to him anyway, as emptiness and loneliness sets in. Course. Of course. Then it's until Eli, the preacher, come begging to Daniel to drill a plot of land for oil. Daniel forces Eli to confess that he has been a false prophet all along, riding on religion for power, wealth, and influence, and he conceded.
I am a false prophet. God is a superstition.
Daniel then broke the news that the oil on that plot of land is already sipped dry from his own mining operation through drainage. Desperate, Daniel pleads and pleads. Unfortunately, Daniel had enough and brutally ended his life. Yeah.
I'm finished.
Finish, finish, finish is his ambition. My interpretation of this scene is that he has finally cut all ties with all the humans he has ever had a close relationship with. His seclusion is complete. He has amassed enough money to get away from people. Well. Okay, this pursuit of materialism leads to emptiness. Even though Daniel finishes the movie happily, he sure is just a hollow husk inside. What is there left for him to care with his heart? What truly matters are all gone. Now, we humans should live with compassion and love even when pursuing ambitious goals. We should be mindful of others. Chasing your goals while being fueled with hatred and envy might give you explosive progress. Yeah, that can drive you, but it's tiring, very tiring. You can choose to be rageful, of course. See people as competition, yet in the end, what gives meaning is care and love. Chasing anger is endless. There are always things to upset you. But when you take a break from hatred, the moment you reflect back on how you worry people, when you realize how happy you were when some people are around you, it is way better to focus on aspects that make humans lovable. That's that's how I come to it. Anyway, that's my take on this movie, especially on Daniel Plainview's journey to emptiness. If you have personal thoughts or opinions on this analysis, please do share it in the comment section. I'd be very happy to read your take on it too. It could be anything else in the movie too. This is my first time making a video like this on YouTube, so I hope you enjoyed. Lots of love. Bye.